We're back again for the Overwatch Open. We have 2 more teams for you that you have not seen yet. They're from EU, and they are Misfits and Luminosity. 2 teams that we know pretty well, but let's start out with Misfits because they had a bit of a mix-up between their qualifier and playing here this week. Huck, what can you tell me about them?
Well, they had quite a bit of problems. Actually, Skipjack, he's having problems with his family. Of course, our condolences go out to him. I feel for him. And then at the same time, Zapri, I think he just made a choice in general saying, you know what, esports isn't for me, I'm gonna take a step back. That being said, they have 2 replacements and apparently they're doing pretty good, which makes it kind of a weird thing, you know, you come in here as a pro player on a team, you know, a quarterback or, you know, you're a pitcher or whatever, you have somebody step in your place and you're like, I want them to do good, but at the same time, not too good. I mean, what do you say, ZP?
So just to add in on that, in particular, in response to Zapri. Zapri was why Misfits took the initial step and got as good as they did. They used to be known as Graviton Surge as a team, and then they added Zapri and started doing super well. But the way they've adapted is that they didn't grab a new DPS to replace Zapri. They had Nevix take on the DPS role, and he is a supremely talented player that can play anything. And in fact, Nevix was in the very first scrim I ever casted in Overwatch just to practice for the first tournament. So I go way back with Nevix.
A little bit of history here then. So you told us a little bit about Nevix taking up that DPS spot. Let's see how they're going to fare against this other team, Luminosity, who is a bit more familiar and a bit more stable. ZP, start us off.
LG's been interesting. They've been a story of a team that really has leveled up after getting sponsored. It's very similar to NIP, really, where they used to be a team known as Too Strong. They were top 8 in EU. They weren't really a threat to the top teams, and then Luminosity picked them up after the old Luminosity, now known as NRG, went to NRG, and it's been nothing but good things for LG. They've been consistently good, and in particular, they've had some really standout tank play when you look at players like Maniton. Maniton, one of the most destructive tanks in the entire game.
It's funny that you actually bring up NIP because that's who they boot camped with. They were actually staying near Stockholm and they practiced at their Infernal Online PC Bong or whatever you want to call it. Yes,
everybody
we've
has
all been
to go
there.
To Inferno.
Yeah, and they have a decent coach, you know, and I think overall they're an underrated team, but at the same time going up against Misfits, even though they've had replacements, we've heard really good things behind the closed doors.
All right, pretty exciting. Actually, Malik got a chance to catch up with Soon from Misfits. Let's see what he has to say about his team.
Thank you very much. Soon, you guys had like a 1-week-long boot camp. You got to be feeling good going in. What's the mind state like for the team?
Pretty fine. We're practicing since we got 2 subs. So talent for Skipjack, he's not here because family problem. And I wish you a good luck for coming. So.
Right. Is it a little bit of is it a little bit mind-boggling that you guys had the team switch up kind of in the middle there with Slipjack being gone?
Yeah, Zapri left, so we trial Hidan, a French player from no name yet. It's a French team. For the moment, it's pretty good. And Rib sub for Skipjack, and he's pretty strong. And I recommend this player if someone needs a tank. It's a very good player.
Yeah, it's got to be like devastating though to you guys, like so close to the tournament. All right, so let's talk about Luminosity. It's your opponent today. Have you guys been studying film, game tape on them? Like, is there anybody on that team that's threatening to you guys? How are you guys feeling about this matchup?
Pretty confident, but it's official matches, so we stay serious. We don't underestimate. But since recent performance, we beat them every time, so we're confident.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you very much. And we're going to send it back to the desk, so take it away, guys.
Well, that's great news that despite the replacements they had to make last minute, Soon is feeling extremely confident. And it sounds like he's promoting Rib there. For anyone else looking for a tank after the Overwatch Open?
Could be an option. Could be an option for sure.
I'll be honest, there's one good part about REUNITED getting knocked out of the tournament early. It means that I do not have to cast a game and where Kib is facing versus Rib. And that would, it's happened before, it's one of those things, wow, you two have very similar names.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. But I have to say, ZP, you've been up on the caster desk. All our casters today have done such a wonderful job. We're going to have 2 very handsome gentlemen coming up next in the way of Goldenboy and Mr. X. But before we even get that far, guys, these players on Luminosity, we have Sunny, we have Icefelt, 2 rock stars. Huck, what can you tell me about them?
So
go ahead.
ZP,
Go ahead if you want to go.
He's
Go.
so excited.
So Icefeld is a really cool story because he's a guy that really stepped things up, went from sort of middle of the pack to a truly top-tier Tracer, top-tier McCree, and his Tracer, particularly if we get any control maps, is completely devastating.
I think in particular, his Genji is what I was very impressed with too. I talked to some of his teammates. They said that he has actually a very underrated and explosive Genji.
Yeah, although it's weird because usually you have Saini taking up the Genji role there. I'd be surprised if they put Saini on something different, given how usually Icefell is on the hit scan. But it's good to know that at the very least they have that flexibility and can change it up as needed.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the teams dipping into that flexibility pool for a lot of their players because, as you said, sometimes you're dead and your usual McCree is not. So it's time to put on those cowboy boots and get out there. I think this team though they've had the advantage of spending so much time together, and time is just a huge factor. Getting comfortable in a team game, it's so important. Do you think that's going to be a huge factor, or you think Misfits' comfort is going to be enough to counteract that?
I think Misfits are going to come out a little stronger here. I personally feel like they just have more experience. The two replacements obviously doing a good job. Just on top of that, it's hard to judge. I mean, we've tried to do predictions. We've seen a lot of upsets. There's definitely the theme that we thought Misfits was the strongest European team going into Gamescom. Yeah. They definitely underperformed there, and we were very disappointed, so I don't want to put any more pressure onto them. But, behind closed doors, as we said, they are a very strong team. The, big theme here is the gap is closing between all these teams.
When you look at all the games today that went to full 3, 2-1s across the board, aside from the last matchup that we saw, it's definitely showing that there's parity in the game. For me, I feel like this is a complete toss-up, like many of the matches we had today. I kind of want to go the other direction, though, and say LG 2-1 here, just because I think LG has been to get out the score for longer, and maybe it'll pay off in an in-person environment.
All right, well, a huge factor in these victories is going to be who can manage and who can combine their ultimates. Check out this video to learn more.
Ultimates are powerful abilities that need to be charged before each use. Unique to each hero, ults can turn the tide of battle if unleashed at the right moment. When paired with teammates, it's possible to wipe out an entire team. They are not just for damage either. Support heroes can use their ultimates to save their team. If big, colorful chaos comes out of nowhere, ultimates are at play.
Shout out to our league commissioner, I believe. Minsik was one of the dummies used in that video there. I noticed his tag.
Sometimes you got to take one for the team.
Well, I think it's incredible. Everyone behind the scenes here is a big Overwatch player, a huge fan. And our producer wants you to know that he did the killing in that one. So way to go, Jason. Nice job. But you know what? We do have the maps. So let's take a look at that and see what our two teams are going to be fighting on. Of course, Misfits and Luminosity are going to be going head-to-head on Nepal. And then either to Kings Row or Hollywood, two very different parts of the world.
I think this first map in particular definitely favors Misfits above everything else. I've heard they're a really strong King of the Hill team. Look out for them to use a more standard traditional comp. I expect Zen, Lucio to come out. Hopefully that's what they used, otherwise it kind of looked bad, but all in all, I think they're going to be stronger on these maps compared to LG, especially on Nepal.
So for me, I actually might take the opposite viewpoint here, just looking at different times of seeing LG. It's not that Misfits is strong on that, but I've seen LG, particularly Icefeld, have such a run on things on Tracer, really outplaying other teams. I think LG has a really good shot here in Nepal. Now, both teams are going to have to play the game and all the rest, but this is a case where I think LG can do pretty well here, but Misfits were to take it, would not be that surprised.
Do we have any indication of kind of changes in the meta when we're approaching these King of the Hill maps?
I think it's more likely that you run, for most teams at least, Ana Lucio. Of course, traditionally in the past, it was almost always Lucio Zen, but we're also seeing like Reinhardt's really weird things coming into play lately.
Reinhardt is actually the biggest one I would jump on there, because for the longest time, these sorts of maps were dominated by leap-in tanks, where back in the day where you could run more than one Winston, you'd see double Winston all the time, and Winston was a standby. But sometimes you could get away without running him, run a Reinhardt, play it a little bit slower, protect, say, a McCree or something in the back. So I think that we have been slowly but surely seeing more meta options open up here on these control maps.
Yeah, we just saw Lijiang Tower with Rogue playing. Reinforced had that Reinhardt out there, was making plays with his team, and it's just so helpful to have that big shield to hide behind, especially when you have all your power lying in your DPS and in your squishy little tanks that need to hide in the back.
Yeah, Nepal in particular, it's infamous for that one bastion strategy where you basically go to the top side, protect the president, and just sit up, keep that shield up. I don't know if we'll see it. It's kind of fallen off lately, but we never know.
Every now and then, hey, if the Tempo Storm team ever comes back and gets into a big event, I would expect to see Mangachu doing that, because back when he was on NG Red, that was his bread and butter, where you'd see them run that probably more so than any other team on Nepal.
Oh, this is pretty exciting here. I'm excited to see Nepal, but after that, we have our 2 hybrid maps as the options, Kings Row and Hollywood. What are the biggest difference between those 2 maps, and why would one of these teams choose one over the other?
I feel like Kings Row is more flat, more standard. You have that street phase where there isn't too many high cliffs, where Hollywood, it is very, very, very important to get on that high ground.
Yeah, and between the 2 maps, I'd say more than anything else, are also the 2 most practiced maps in the game. High ground does have a better usage on Hollywood, whereas Kings Row has more choke points, where you can catch people off guard. Things like blizzards and whatnot are harder to get away from. Hollywood, you have more verticality options, but it's also wider with less of a choke point.
Yeah, that is a big thing to be concerned about here, and especially as we have these players considering what kind of DPS characters they want to go for. We saw a lot of people reaching out and choosing Pharah. That meant that a lot of people were reaching back into the support pool and pulling out Mercy. I would love to see some of these more original things here, but just starting off on Hollywood, I mean, where do you think the better options lie for Misfits and going up against Luminosity?
I think personally the thing to look out for would be Reapers. Nano Boost, obviously, there's so much high ground, and you're always going to have to run a Winston, you know, Genji, anything that can get on the high ground. And naturally, those 3 things, they counter each other, and there's kind of this, you know, rock, paper, scissors combination that happens.
Yeah, Hollywood is interesting in terms of how teams want to run it. You would think you would see more Pharah, but teams have been kind of hesitant to do so. But I do think if you have Reapers coming in, for example, on the defense, I think you could get away with running it. But it's hard because a lot of teams have gotten to a point where they haven't been running Pharah as a whole recently, and there's something to be said for changing to something that you haven't practiced is not always wise in such an event like this.
All right, well, our 2 teams are getting set up, so we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, it's Misfits versus Luminosity. Who will be our final team to move on to the winners round? Who is going down to our losers bracket? And who has the harder road ahead as we approach our 10 p.m. show on TVS Friday night? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. As we are about to get into Misfits versus Luminosity, our first map is going to be Nepal, and this is different from our next 2, which are hybrid maps. So why don't we just get your predictions, break it down for me on this first map. Huck?
Well, I'm going to go with Misfits. I think they're a strong King of the Hill team. The biggest question mark for them is how well their 2 stand-ins do live. You know, they've had experience online, but now coming in, and they got big expectations, right? This is a team that wants to be a quality top-tier team.
For me, I think these maps are won by the strength of your Zarya play, number 1, and the strength of your flankers, number 2. And you take a look at LG. Manitin is one of the very best Zaryas in the entire game, and Icefeld has had true gems of games on Tracer. So looking at those factors, I feel like those players in particular are really going to stand out as we go into this map.
All right, thank you guys so much for your input. We're gonna hand it back over to our casters. We've got Goldenboy and Mr. X up in the skybox. Guys, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, Seltzer. I'm here with
I'm doing quite good as well.
I don't care how you feel. I am doing quite well yet again. I'm going to remind everyone how I'm feeling. I was actually just trolling everyone in the chat just now, you know, hoping to get a little what face spam over there, you know, pad my numbers so that this way I could be a top 10 emote on Twitch again.
Justify that emote.
That's right. Justify the emote. There you go. I see you guys chat. You guys are just a bunch of savages. All right, here we go, folks. It's going to be time for our first matchup between these two teams. Misfits, Luminosity. And who do you got here, Matt?
I actually want to see how some of these, fill-in, stand-in players for Misfits play. The guys on the desk obviously have some questions. First time in a live environment, it's going to be difficult. And I think though they will still come out and play at a top form. And just look at a difference in the comps right now. Misfits will have a Reaper on the side of Luminosity. They will have a Genji to kick things off.
Here we go, folks. It's going to be Cinny here, waiting to see if he can pull off something. Of course, folks, this has been a long day of Overwatch action, so we thank you so much for joining us here at the start of it. It has certainly been one for the ages, though, as Europe has been quite the intense portion of this bracket. Of course, Envy waiting to see who's going to come out on top. Of the Misfits open up strong, and they are going to be able to claim themselves the first point. One of the things I want to talk about here was how, in the analyst test, there was a differing of opinion, right? For ZP, it felt like LG had a strong control game, but on the other side, Huck felt like Misfits, they were going to shine a bit on this particular game type, and I happen to agree with Huck here. I think Misfits are coming into this one with a hot hand.
I do as well, and you're going to see here, it's going to be soon. He's going to just dart in and out. He's going to get taken out, though. Nice and Yada play right there by Zave. Now, it's going to be 3 kills, though, for Misfits. They should be able to hold on to this point. It's going to be KRYW, these Europeans crew, they have
their names.
They have the weirdest names. I mean, let's just get that out of the way.
Let's just address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
I mean, then again, though, you look at like the American players too. I mean, not really all that. Yeah, so everyone's just trying to be creative.
If you're gonna be crew, I mean, just
your name's Mr. X, so I don't know if you have much room to talk.
Spell it with the E, man. Just makes it a whole lot easier when the action is flying. But the down barrier gonna come in for Misfits. It's gonna be crew with Death Blossom as well. He's gonna just wait, lurk above, showing the patience here. Now going to drop down. The patience does not pay off as he connects with nobody there. It's gonna be Luminosity taking control of the point.
Yeah, he thought he had something lined up, just didn't really work out in his favor. Now it's gonna be trapped in the back, going into the Wraith mode, seeing if he can work, but Cinny had another plan there. He's gonna cut him down to size. Of course, Soon doing his absolute best to just continue to delay and then add those points to the board. Very critical in a game type like Control, but Luminosity get control yet again. And, or I should say, for the first time, apologies, gets control for the first time, starting to add some points to the board.
Yeah, and Icefeld has that pulse bomb to use. Manton is getting close to that Graviton Surge, so we'll see if they combo those together. It's going to be 2 kills, though, for Luminosity. Make it 3. They are just abusing Misfits as they try and take high ground. It's not going to work as Luminosity gets a hold.
You want to talk about names? You got to talk about Icefeld over there, man. Like, I remember when I first saw that, I was like,
yeah, I asked Rachel in the back. I was like, how do you say that? She's like, think of ice and then think of like felt, like the fabric. I was like, okay, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's just, you got to dumb it down for you, Matt. I respect the hustle, baby. It's all good.
Oh, thanks, Alex.
It's all good. So here we go. It's going to be Misfits moving up again now, and they're just going to look to get in there. Look for Nevix, though, to just approach this Graviton. That's exactly what's going to happen. Soon's going to drop the Pulse Bomb. Find nothing for it, though. Soon looking to focus instead on the Zenyatta. Of course, that will be Zave, who's trying his best to just get away from the action, and soon realizing this was not going to be a battle that he could win, opting to just back out of this one. And Luminosity is creeping up on him, X.
And Luminosity has a lot to work with. I mean, they have the Dragon Blade. Wrestler, he has his Primal Rage, so the next time Misfits tries to push through, they're going to be able to use these ultimates to hold it off.
Yeah, look for Hedan to be a main initiator here, or at least keep them alive with that Transcendence, especially with the Dragon Blade out. There you see it. Dragon Blade out, and there's Transcendence. Hedan read that one very well, and he's doing his absolute best to keep his team in this fight here as Cinny moves in, but Crew is going to be there for the answer back right away, and this is going to be Misfits overtaking this one. Bad position for Mineral to be in. He was trapped between all the members of Misfits. They get the cap, and that is going to be at 91% for Luminosity, and this is looking good because Rib does have Primal Rage, and I like that Soon is just going to get up in their face and distract them, keep them occupied as time ticks.
Well, you look, if Misfits wins this next battle, they should be able to just win this first point. I mean, they have that Death Blossom, they have the Primal Rage, and here comes the push from Luminosity. It's going to be Soon and Ko. It's going to be 2 big kills out of Crew using that Death Blossom. He's going to fall, but it's going to be Icefeld for Luminosity getting inside the point, trying to contest. He is going to drop. The emotes are coming out from the side of Misfits. That's going to be point number 1 in favor of Misfits.
And I think for Mineral, he had to be really frustrated there, not being able to get off his sound barrier in time and give his team that extra life in the fight. Did not work out in their favor. Misfits looking strong. I mean, honestly, I'm not all that surprised, you know, that it opened up this way at the very least. I think for LG, they need to get a feel for how they want to approach this against Misfits. Misfits, though, I have to give these dudes all the credit, man. To be able to pick up 2 new people and bring them into your rotation with not a lot of notice there, and Hidan and I believe it was Rib. Yes, Rib coming in here. You know, you had the glowing recommendation as well from Rib earlier today. So I think overall, this is not bad. Not bad for Misfits.
It's a good start.
Kick it off, yeah. You gotta be happy with it.
First point, get one on the board. 2 more, they'll secure the map. And off the start here, in jump on with Luminosity. It'll be Icefeld running that Reaper yet again. Reaper is such an effective hero to plow through tanks. You see he's just taking advantage of Winston here. Poor little Winston can't do much of anything. Rib gets taken out. It's going to be Luminosity drawing that first blood. There goes Zarya, Icefeld, and Ko doing a nice job here at the beginning.
Beat aggression with aggression, it feels like. Icefeld looking to work with his teammates in Mineral, and that another good pick there for Icefeld yet again. And of course, nowhere to go for Hidan. He is going to have to take a seat for the time being and hop on that respawn. But that was some good opening strategy there from Luminosity. They basically said, we have to get in their face. We have to put ourselves on the board first. And they do so very nicely.
And you know, Winston's such a great hero to initiate, right? To get into the other team's faces.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, but when a Reaper is on the other side of it, that Reaper just shreds through Winston, and we're gonna have a team fight. You see the pulse bomb coming in. Zarya's gonna be 100% charge, and now it's going to be Misfits playing for point control, and Suni gonna have to fall back. The sound barrier gonna come in. He's gonna connect with the pulse bomb, but the sound barrier of the opponent goes down just in time. And now does not have that pulse bomb to use on that Graviton Surge. Would have liked to have that one.
Good Graviton indeed. Manitan tried to just group everyone up there, but it just didn't work out. Didn't have the follow-up, and Misfits are going to be able to win out this one and start putting some points on the board. And look at the ults that they have here, X. They have themselves a Death Blossom, Pulse Bomb, and Ribbed, who's going to look in there to dive with the Primal Rage, and Nevix as well is going to be coming up really close with this Graviton Surge. So look for Nevix to keep them at bay, and probably Graviton as they approach this bridge on the right.
Yeah, now Icefeld for Luminosity does have that Death Blossom, so we'll see if he likes to use it here, maybe save it, try and bait out some of the ultimates on the side of Misfits. There you see the Graviton Surge. You see Soon coming in with a Pulse Bomb. He's able to get one. Crew picks up another, but Luminosity answers back with 2 quick kills of their own. You see how fast Soon getting that back line, chasing down that Zenyatta, able to take him out with ease. And now, just with Tracer, you can be so fast and agile across the map. The recall is going to give the health back. Soon still on the chase of this Zarya, and not going to be able to do it. Going to drop back towards that point, going to take it out by Sunny. And this is one that Luminosity might be able to take.
Yeah, I'm sure if Soon had a little bit more, you know, for the blinks there, could have potentially got to the health point before the Zarya could to finish up that fight, but really it would have ultimately resulted in not much coming from that, because Luminosity were able to get those bodies on point and get it right back in their possession. So getting a point here for LG would be huge, considering that, I mean, you know, I think you and I both, as well as Huck, had kind of written off LG, at least for this particular game type. Manitan now drops the Graviton Surge, and there you're going to have Cine moving in there, finding one. That's going to be Nevix falling down. Mineral gets the follow-up on Crew, and that is going to be another clear. Misfits back to the drawing board they go, but they have Zebasai with a sound barrier, so look for that to play a big role. But Mineral has one too, so this is going to be a battle of attrition. Who's gonna stay alive longer?
Well, I mean, they do have that Transcendence as well.
That just popped up, yeah.
So you're going to have the Pulse Bomb as well, so they could combo a lot of these ults. They're going to need to, because Luminosity coming very close to taking this point.
Not bad at all there, and that was actually a really good read. Soon just charged right after Manatan, didn't give him much to deal with there, and Soon wants to just focus on anyone, whether it be the Tracer or the Zenyatta who tried to push up, but Crew, he's gonna just fly right in there and deal as much damage as possible. Wraith mode away, but he will have support from his teammate. Misfits able to flip it yet again, and they were able to pick up 3 for their trouble, forcing back Luminosity, and they have to disengage. Let's see what they're gonna do, as it's 99% to the 65 that Misfits have here.
Yeah, Misfits cannot give control back to Luminosity. Nivix has that Graviton Surge, and you're gonna have Soon with that Pulse Bomb. Look for that big combo to come in to try and hold this for for Misfits, and it's gonna actually come through. You're gonna see the Pulse Bomb drop. It's gonna be Soon, able to pick up 1, takes out Mineral. That's a huge kill, taking out the Lucio, ruins the sustainability of Luminosity, who get kills across the board in favor of Misfits. They get a hold, and Soon gonna use that jump to get up top, try and put some more pressure on.
This is gonna be tough because Zebasai will have sound barrier after a couple shots, so that is gonna keep them alive. The most they can hope for is Manatan jumping in there with the Graviton Surge and just, you know, grouping them all up and hoping for the best, dealing as much damage as possible. They hear the Graviton Surge, but Soon is dealing with the back end there and was able to handle it with ease. Rib is able to clear out Ruster as well, which means no Winston for you. Mineral can't keep the team alive because the support's gonna fall down, and that's a clear, and that's Misfits taking it yet again. They're gonna go up 2-0.
And Soon is just laughing right now. I mean, his Tracer's just been absolutely sick, just darting through the opponents. And it's so difficult with Tracer, right? We talked a little bit about how, you know, she has such a low amount of health, only 150 HP. It's like if you run out of those blinks and you don't have like another one to get out, or your recall is up, you can get taken down by a lot of targets fairly easily.
Yeah, I mean, Tracer is a very squishy character, but that's why her mobility is so incredible.
She's very fast.
Very fast indeed. Very, very fast.
She can blink, Alex. It's very...
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
No problem, anytime. Just wanted to fill you in. Wasn't sure if you were aware.
No, not at all.
Misfits up
Not
2-0.
at all. I know nothing.
Misfits up 2-0 on this first map here. This best-of-3 series.
Luminosity fought back, but that has to be a heartbreaker for them,
Yeah.
right? They just weren't able to get any ults up, and when they did it, it just wasn't the ones that they needed, right? Of course, this is going to be a big round here, because if Misfits take it, this will be a victory for the Misfits. Luminosity have to fight back. Ruster, though, in a bit of a pickle now, had to back away and is going to get focused down by Hedan. Icefelt in a similar position as well, and they're kind of trapped in this balcony here. Soon tries to charge up, won't really find much out of that one. And Icefelt just looking to tear through with those Hellfire shotguns. He's able to pick up 2, continuing to just apply a significant amount of damage. But Misfits are going to be in the point, and they should be able to get this one. If Icefelt has anything to say about it, though, he seems to disagree with that. Crew's going to hang out inside, and this is going to be a Luminosity capture as Icefelt and the crew stand strong out of that balcony. That was some good work.
Yeah, I mean, Misfits put so much pressure on that bridge, and Icefelt just able to hold it off. His teammates able to get back down towards that point. Misfits not able to get control of the bridge. Luminosity gets control of this point first. And it'll be Icefelt with that Death Blossom. We'll see if he decides to use it. You're going to see the Graviton come in. Pulse Bomb as well. He's going to dodge it. There's the Transcendence. Now it's going to be Icefelt stuck in that Graviton Surge, but the sound barrier comes in from his teammate. Just not enough sustain. Should be Misfits making a good push towards the point.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Good work, I have to say, from Manatan, just reading the situation and just focusing down on Soon right away. Just any amount of points count here, right? You just want to continue to develop as much as you possibly can. For Manatan, it's about developing more ult charge as well, since that Graviton Surge is going to be very important. But going into this next fight, though, Misfits' Crew and Rib do have themselves their ultimates, Death Blossom and Primal Rage up. Soon we'll have the Pulse Bomb as well. So look for these players to try and just work together here. Maybe, and Icefelt also has his, so this is going to be very interesting. See how this pans out. Icefelt charging up with the Hellfire shotguns. Now X, there's going to be a double Death Blossom.
And it's going to be Icefelt just running through the opponents. You see the Transcendence going to come in on the point. Now you see the Primal Rage come in from Rib. He's just trying to toss his opponents off the map. He's going to drop. Soon left in there for Misfits. Same with Zeb. They're both going to drop. Luminosity gets control of the point.
Good job, Luminosity, fighting back, keeping themselves in this one. And Manitin as well with now Graviton Surge. He's anticipating a real big push up here. They are looking to go for that big bang as well when you combo Pulse Bomb with the Graviton Surge. So look for Cindy to really cause a lot of problems here. There it goes. He's going to drop it down, but he won't find anything because I believe that was going to be a Zarya bubble that was there for the protection. So the timing of it was perfect on the side of Misfits now. Cindy looking to deal with Hedan here, but it's not going to matter because Nevix just runs in there and whacks Cindy. That's going to be a flip for Misfits right back in this one.
And it is a huge transition of the hill because now you see Misfits has 3 ultimate abilities. Make it 4 as Transcendence just comes up, and you look on the side of Luminosity, they have nothing to work with right now. Misfits closing the gap. They have the ult advantage. Should be able to open this game up.
Here it goes. Same thing again. Able to get one, though. That's going to look good for them as Zebasai and Nevix are able to clear out some critical heroes, and soon on the push-up, just looking to continue to charge up that ult, and on top of that, force him off, get that kill. So
every Lucio player is a nightmare. You're just like standing there, Tracer's just flying all around you. You're just like, nah, I may as well just jump off.
It's like nothing I could do.
Yeah, just try to get spotting up with the rest of the Luminosity squad. Now Luminosity has a nice amount of ultimates to work with, right? I mean, they have everything but that Graviton Surge. Let's see how they combo these and try and take the point back.
Yeah, they have a lot here, a lot of sustain. On the other side of Misfits too, they do have that. But now it's going to be Icefeld moving in here. He will have himself a Death Blossom, but won't get much out of that one because he's going to force out the Transcendence from Hedan, who's going to keep his team alive. Zebasai is also going to drop that sound barrier. So that's going to mean a win here potentially for Luminosity. They might be able to get this split back. It's going to look really good for them, and yes, Mineral's going to be the only one left on the point as the rest of his teammates just push up. 99% for the Misfits. Luminosity, though, are going to fight back.
Luminosity gets control of the point, but they burn everything in doing so. They're going to have Graviton Surge for this next fight. City potentially gets that Pulse Bomb, the side of
It's a pretty good
Misfits.
combo to have.
Yeah, you're going to have that Death Blossom. Reaper has just been so devastating at this tournament. You're going to see the Pulse Bomb, Graviton Surge combination come in, and not going to be able to connect with anybody. You see the Pulse Bomb just blow up there, not going to take anyone out on the side of Misfits, and soon sneaks behind enemy lines and is able to take the point.
Yeah, honestly, that is probably the more surprising portion of it, right? Because, you know, you got to watch out for those flanking tracers, and Soon just does such a brilliant job here. Luminosity thought they had it. They were playing the front door, but it won't matter because Luminosity will not get it. That will be a victory for the Misfits. Congratulations to them. They are going to take game number 1. Really good job, man. And Soon just... like, how are you supposed to deal with that?
You know, there was so much action, like when you're Luminosity, you're just focusing on everyone coming out of that left side. It's like Soon just goes the opposite direction, gets onto the point. You know, they're so focused on taking the players out of the door that are in the Graviton Surge. They use the Pulse Bomb, don't get anything for it. And Soon just sneaks behind, takes the point back. Nice play from him. Misfits take game number 1.
Really clutch play there, without a doubt. So, moving into our next one, it's either going to be Kings Row or Hollywood. We're going to see who picks what, or actually it will be the choice of Luminosity. So they're going to think about this one, figure it out. But, you know, we got to just go right back to this one, folks, because Soon, overall, I think Tracer, you know, whether it was Icefeld or Soon, definitely brought it this game. They were certainly focal points for their teams. But Soon, man, again, just a superstar. He played wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, he was just darting all across the map, and you can see, you know, when Tracer's really effective, gets to your back line, really just being a nuisance for your Zenyatas, for your Lucios. Tracer is just a fabulous character and just creating just chaos in your back line.
Luminosity talking about what they want to do here as Misfits await the choice, whether it would be Kings Row or Hollywood. Do you go for the safe map? Do you go for Kings Row, or do you try your hand at Hollywood where high ground is key? But look here, this is
too difficult
Rib.
to ask me while we watch this play of the match. I got to focus on this first, Alex. Then I'll give you my opinion.
You know, I don't blame you because Rib, the fill-in here, who came in and had big shoes to fill, definitely doing a brilliant job. And that is going to give Misfits that first win, right? I mean, it was obviously a team effort, but Misfits, again, just they came into this one a favorite, and as you see on your screen, it's going to be Hollywood.
I was going to say that.
Went with.
I was going to say that as well.
Were you really?
No, I was actually going to wait for production to tell me, and then hopefully they didn't tell you, and I was going to say it, so I looked like I was smart. But Hollywood, a fantastic map. It's going to be Luminosity's pick for map number 2. What?
How little effort you put into like everything you do.
No, because it would have just created a scenario where I would look like a genius.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have. But I think, you know, people know the truth.
Yeah, I mean, going into Hollywood, really looking on the defensive end, you know, we've seen a lot of Roadhog play on Hollywood from the offensive side, right? Trying to get those picks early. We've seen a lot of EnvyUs as well, but that was in the North American games that we've casted. In the Europe games, you know, we have not seen a lot of May. It's just been really aggressive play, you know, with Tracer Genji still.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Winston and Tracer playing a role here. Winston, of course, if he could dive into that back line and really disrupt and cause a lot of problems, that's something that Winston's really good at doing. So I could definitely see that happening. I remember actually watching one of the tournaments. I want to say it was the Lenovo Cup, but I could be wrong here. And Misfits actually did just that. They had their Winston just fly right in there. And this was against the 3-3 comp. And they had Winston fly in. Of course, 3 tank, 3 support could not handle the disruption in the back lines, and because of that, they were able to just push in, get that first point, even though it looked to be really, really difficult in the process. So maybe, just maybe, you're going to see that happen this time around. And boy, if it does, X, I'm going to look like a gosh darn genius.
You will, and I know that we've been seeing that strategy, though, from a lot of European teams, right?
I know, you just took away all my thunder.
They use the Winston Genji combination, and I mean, in the last game with Rogue, we saw a ton of Nano Boost and Ana. We have not seen as much from the European side of things, but it looks like Luminosity going to start things off, though. They will have Ana, they'll have Icefelt on Reaper, and then they will be going with 3 tanks and then a Lucio to round things out.
Beautiful view here. Quite nice. Serene landscapes.
California doesn't have green grass like that.
No. In fact, in California, all that is just brown grass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which would be dead grass, Alex.
That would be dead grass. Yes.
Dead there.
Thank you so much, Matt. You are a beacon of knowledge. And again, you know, I really think you're.
I have a background in agriculture.
Proud. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Definitely.
But it'll be Misfits on attack here to kick things off. It'll be soon on Tracer yet again. Nevix will be running the Genji, be focusing on those 2 players, seeing how they can attack the support players of the side of Luminosity.
There's Rib with that Winston. Perhaps this is going to be their attempt and going on the flank here, and this is exactly what I was talking about before. So yes, folks, I am smart. The good news is they have no idea. He's going to dive right in and pop that bubble, and this is just absolutely insane because as soon as that happened, they said, wait a minute, we got to deal with this problem, and they do so with relative ease. Nevix, though, trying to get some picks, but look at that there, the pressure that's coming from Cine stops him right in his tracks. Never mind, I stand corrected. Cine just was not in a good position, it seemed like, and Nevix was able to get that one.
And Nevix has nowhere to go. I mean, everybody from Luminosity just surrounding him. He's taken out rather quickly. He is going to earn the Dragon Blade for the next fight. He then has that Transcendence as well. You look on the side of Luminosity in the first fight, you see the support players doing a fantastic job keeping their team alive. Both of them earn their ultimate abilities.
I think Icefelt's going to be the focal point for that nano boost, and we'll see how this works out as Nevix. He's gonna actually, I think he just got put to sleep there, but it didn't matter because the Dragon Blade was going to come out in just a little bit. Trying to get a couple hits in the back, take out Zave. He is able to find him. Could this be a Misfits victory here? Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, though, if it keeps going this way. Nevix having to back away, disengage. He has one more teammate there. That will be Zebasai. And somehow is able to stay up, but I think Cine and the crew are just going to handle that one or push him away. So another disengage, but Misfits prepared for the attack. They're going to have sustain here with Zebasai.
Yeah, and they're going to have that sound barrier to use. You figure that's what's exactly going to come in. You see the sound barrier drops from the side of Misfits. They're just not able to pick up any kills. The support players on the side of Luminosity do a fantastic job keeping their teammates alive. You see the Earth Shatter come in from the side of Luminosity. They don't get anything for it. You see all the kills going in Misfits' favor. They should be able to get control of the payload.
Very well done, Misfits.
Yeah, get off that guy's screen. I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah, you know, just my mind can't take it. I'm already exhausted.
It's all right. I got you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Preach, dog. All right. So here we go, Matt. We have high ground. And look at Nevix just getting gully, pushing up there, putting pressure on Cine. not really allowing him to you know, get some footing up top and forcing him down. That was some pretty good work, and soon just waiting for that time to strike and continuing to build upon the ultimate 58% there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just being a nuisance on top of the other team, and Icebell comes in, gets the nano boost with the Death Blossom. He's able to get to a third in the feed as well. See Crew, he's dead there. We're just watching through his perspective, looking at some of the rest of his teammates for Luminosity. Stands on top of the payload, they get control of it, not letting Misfits push it up. He then has that Transcendence soon with the Pulse Bomb, and you have Rib with that Primal Rage of a Winston. When do they elect to use all of these abilities? Misfits getting some utility control here as you see that.
Goes that Soon's opportunity. Heard the call of the Pulse Bomb there, but couldn't actually get in there and throw it down just yet, but is now finally able to, and that was going to be Ruster, who just could not stay alive. Soon going toe-to-toe against one of the better Zaryas and able to come out on top here, and this is going to be a win for Misfits, progressing the payload forward with plenty of time left on the clock.
Yeah, doing a nice job winning the fights. And right there, as soon as that Graviton dropped, he wanted to get around, use that Pulse Bomb.
But you heard it, you saw it too.
Yeah, he focused on that Ana, tried to take her out, and then just push forward. Was able to take out some other players, finally use that Pulse Bomb, was able to attach to Reinhardt. That helped his teammates clear out the defensive side, and it's going to be Winston engaging for Misfits. He's going to be sound barrier. Now he's going to go into Primal Rage. You see Winston going absolutely ham here, looking for opponents to toss. That's a punch to the mouth there of Manitin. It's going to be the payload moving forward. Misfits gets the checkpoint, and you see just the aggression they're putting on right now, just doing a fantastic job chasing down these straggling players from Luminosity that are left, trying to stagger their spawn point. So it forces the guys on Luminosity to wait till everybody's spawned up and then make a push together.
Yeah, they don't have to deal with this encounter in the first part of this warehouse here, the space room, the rocket ship. They don't have to really deal with that, right? Of course, Crew's going to meet them up front, and does he have anyone to follow up with? He's going to throw down a Graviton Surge, and there's the Pulse Bomb, but no! Will not happen, as soon will end up falling there. Nevix now with Dragon Blade trying to get in, but it won't matter because he will get stopped. Senni picking up 3 with the Tracer, and just wants to just pound out Rib here and just not let him get anywhere. Just go back to your spawn. Away with you, he says. And Luminosity, hold it back.
Yeah, no, Senni gonna drop back a little bit, wait for his team to spawn up, and see Icebell with Reaper. He's gonna teleport on top. You can see that on your screen. Just being sneaky up top. Keep an eye on him, potentially trying to drop down and make a play.
You know that Reaper has just been a point of conversation, and now you're gonna see Nevix on this Mei just pretty much hopefully, I should say, hopefully trying to zone out. I shouldn't say pretty much hopefully, because that was his objective there. Just really couldn't find much with that one, but despite whatever is going on here, Misfits, they're moving through. They're feeling great. They have this one. You got yourself a Nevix who's just freezing out Ruster. Your tank is gonna fall. That's gonna be a Earth Shatter dropping down, and Misfits get 3. They look solid.
And 2:15 is a ton of time left on the clock. Misfits, the payload never stopped moving once they got it. They get it all the way to the end, put a lot of pressure on Luminosity here going into the second half.
It's very impressive close out there as well. You know, I think Misfits, man, they're right now just playing on a bit of another level here, you know, and I'm super impressed with how Misfits have kept their composure. Whenever LG looked like they're about to rally back, Misfits always seem to have a plan. And to be 100% like honest, they're looking like a really strong team.
Oh yeah, I mean, if nobody told me they didn't have stand-ins, you would have never guessed it, right?
Yeah, very true.
This looks like a team that just has, all their teamwork down, communication solid, working well together, using those abilities in combination to break those defensive setups. Fantastic first half from Misfits. Now, it'll be interesting to see what they run comp-wise here going into the second half. I know you saw Mei there at the end on offense. Is that something that carries over into the defensive side?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think Mei would be a really good choice here, and that's
oh my God, look at these chairs.
Oh man, someone really doesn't like chairs.
That's unfortunate.
Hey, I mean, look, like, is Reinhardt gonna sit on a chair?
It's like I'm moving into a new apartment. I could have valued those chairs, but Misfits, they will have the Mei going into the second half. They will also have Soon now running the Reaper, so switching off that Tracer, gonna bring Reaper out. Then they will have Ana Lucio in terms of supports. So You will see that nano boost, probably looking to get soon in positions where he can just surprise the offensive attack, destroy them with that nano boost plus Death Blossom combination.
Well, one thing I'm noticing here, no diving for Luminosity, no Genji, no Tracer.
I mean, I feel like in the comp that they're running, you're kind of relying on Roadhog to get those picks with the hook, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to force that aggression that you would if you had like a Winston or a Genji Tracer combination.
Yeah, and Cine, he's looking for an opportunity here, but he's going to have to deal with Rib's shield. And perhaps it seems like they want to go up the gut, but there could be a call made to just go around the flank and try and get the picks from there and get that high ground, which is exactly what's going on here. If you want to get that high ground, if you're a Roadhog, that really is great at distracting. But Icefelt read that one lovely, and there you go. It's actually going to drag Zebasai over to him and pick him off with relative ease. Now that means they're not going to have their tank. They're not going to have one of their major support characters. Of course, still having that Ana in the back line, so it's going to be very important. And look at that, time that one lovely. Him throwing down the Blizzard. Finally, though, Cine is going to get picked off by Soon, and they just have to wait this one out.
Yeah, but I feel like they needed to put a little bit more pressure. You know, once you get those first 2 kills, they just get stalled out for a little bit. Now it's going to be Luminosity having to back up. Going to be the cavalry coming in for the Misfits as they gain a little bit more of defensive stability. They're going to have that Graviton Surge on a crew, and they're going to have the Nano Boost. Soon getting very close to that Death Blossom. Nevix did a nice job throwing out that Blizzard, just stalling the offensive push there towards the end. Manitit's going to have that Graviton Surge. Let's see if he uses it here.
There you go. Now you have that Nano boosted. Reinhardt moving up, gonna have Death Blossom, drops it down, finds 1, 2, not a third, but still whole hog Cine with that Roadhog, but Soon is looking to push up, get right into FaZe, and do the best tank buster he possibly can, but it won't matter because Icefelt is there for the stop. Now it's gonna be up to Zebasai working with Nevix to just keep themselves inside, and I like that Blizzard. That's gonna keep them right out of there, give his teammates time to jump right back into the action.
Oh yeah, you get that Blizzard, you get in that Ice Block, it gives you enough time for Rib to come off the spawn, but it's gonna be Icefelt with the Nano Boost Death Blossom. He's able to get 2, picks up a 3rd. The Sound Barrier comes in as well for Luminosity. It's just gonna be Soon on the point, trying to lock this down for Misfits. He drops. Zarya coming up from above. Crew's gonna drop down. Has Hedan there with him, trying to support. Both of them are gonna fall as well, and this payload should go to Luminosity.
Pushing up and just getting this one done. Very necessary here. They had 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, now with 4 minutes on the clock. Looking to approach the street phase strong, but you have Luminosity with the Earth Shatter as well as a Graviton Surge. Let's see what is going to happen here, because Misfits with that high ground, I really like that. They're just going to continue to poke out. They're going to poke out them, Luminosity as much as possible. There goes Graviton Surge. Icefelt's going to find 1. He's going to find a double as well. Manitin's going to be there for the follow-up on Rib. Trapped in the corner is going to be Nevix. Not much able to do there. Couldn't get the Blizzard out in time. Probably opted to save it instead. And Luminosity are going to win this one. High ground control was for Misfits, but they just couldn't quite put this one away.
It was a fairly convincing, pretty easy team fight for Luminosity to win there. Icefelt now with the Death Blossom trying to set up in a sneaky position where he can catch Misfits off guard. Look to see though, as soon as that Nano comes in, you could see that Nevix drops that Blizzard, but not fast enough. It's going to be the Nano boosted Reaper dropping down, picking up some big kills, but it's going to be 3 kills for Misfits as well on the feed. Kills being exchanged by both teams. Icefelt trying to hunt down Crew. He's going to win that one. Has Malik there trying to help him out. He picks up 2 as well. And now it's going to be Luminosity continuing to move this payload. But here's the spawners coming in for Misfits. They should be able to contest this here.
That last fight was just executed wonderfully. Manitin and Icefelt having to work together there. Now it's going to be up to Nevix. Does he opt to use the Blizzard to try and keep them away around this point? This could be a very strong possibility. They are going to focus out, and they do throw down that Blizzard. So they're just looking to close out Rib as soon as possible, or Buster as soon as possible. He's not going to be able to stay up long enough, and that's going to be Luminosity falling down. And here goes Nevix. They're just pushing up and making sure that they disengage. 2 minutes on the clock. 2-minute warning in effect.
And we see many teams get stalled out in this exact position. It's very tough to get by because Misfits is going to push up a little bit further. They're going to be able to take this fight a little bit further out. And what happens there is if they drop, they still have at least one more shot to contest the payload, and it's going to be soon up top with that
I
Death
would
Blossom.
be shocked if they didn't see him cross that bridge, because I could have sworn Ruster would have seen him, but here he goes. It's going to drop down. Death Blossom, the great bubble, a clutch bubble, actually going to keep Ruster alive, but it won't matter because Soon is actually going to catch him as he tries to thrust straight into the action here. And Soon right back to the top again, resuming the position and just waiting to see if anyone charges up.
And I mean, Luminosity does have some things to work with here. I mean, Manhattan will have that Graviton Surge, Zave will have the Nano, and you'll have the Earth Shatter on Ruster, but on the side of Misfits, you'll have that Graviton Surge. They don't have to be as scared of the Reaper because he doesn't have the Death Blossom, but still, Reaper coming from above, causing chaos, can really make some things happen. You see that nice May wall coming in from Zevix, protects his teammates there from the incoming damage once that Graviton comes down, but it's going to be Icefeld coming through with the Nano Death Blossom, able to pick up 2 as him and Sunny do a nice job pushing this Misfits team back, but it's going to be Misfits taking control of the engagement. They're going to be able to hold on the defensive end.
There's a lot of investment into that one for Luminosity. They dropped the Graviton. They went for that Death Blossom as well. They just couldn't quite get what they wanted out of it. Got to give a shout out to Rip there for really focusing that shield on Icefeld, not letting him get the damage where needed. How is he going to use this Earth Shatter though? And he charges right in, and now he's going to have the Nano Boost, and he's going to have a bunch of people right for the picking right in front of him and forcing them back. Ruster's going to be all by his lonesome there, forcing back the 2 supports as well as the Zarya, the 3 heroes that keep your Reinhardt alive, and that is yet another win here for Misfits. They have a few seconds left on the clock, but Cindy's going to move in, and that's going to be a great pulse bomb there in favor of Luminosity. And I don't know if they're going to be able to hold this one off. No, they will not. Misfits will hold it down, and they will take it 2-0. Brilliant work from Misfits.
Yeah, Misfits, the fantastic hold there on the defensive end. As soon as you saw everyone drop from Luminosity with about 17 seconds left, no ultimate abilities, and the Graviton Surge on the side of the Misfits, you thought it was over. Misfits did a fantastic job taking care of business here against Luminosity.
Keep in mind though, folks, Luminosity not out of it quite yet, as they take a trip to the lower bracket where they will face off against ANOX. That will be coming up later on today. But then you also have Misfits, who will now be going toe-to-toe
with Rogue.
And that is going to be a good matchup. I actually can't wait for that one because Rogue, they've been looking like superstars. Misfits came in here, they're looking like superstars. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I know Rogue is such a fantastic team. Obviously watching them at Gamescom and how they came in and played their first match. I'm excited though. Misfits, they're a little bit of a wild card team. You know, very talented. Be interesting to see if they can give Rogue a run for their money.
I just think they have an incredible story, right? Yeah. 2 replacements coming into this event, having to synergize with them as best they possibly could. Rib as well as Hedan really holding their own. And this Misfits squad moves on to the next round. Of course, it's going to be a great matchup. Misfits versus Rogue will be coming up later. We're also going to have some more action coming at you, folks, so don't go anywhere. Overwatch Open, live from Atlanta, Georgia. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Overwatch Open. We just saw Misfits versus Luminosity, and one of you guys was right, and one of you guys was less right. But,
let's just clarify. I was directly wrong. But the reason why, in looking at it, is that I underestimated just how much Misfits had gelled with their new players. And honestly, Rib had big shoes to fill going in for Skipjack, who reinforced on Rogue at one point said he's just the gold standard for tanks, never messes up. Not an easy person to replace, but Rib was able to come in and do well.
It was pretty impressive stuff. Huck, anything to add?
I was right.
You were right. High five, Chris. Nice job on being correct. All right, let's throw it up to Malik. He's got one of our players up there for the quiz after the match.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Rip, that was such an amazing match you just played, man. You got to be feeling good. That was probably the most convincing victory that we've had today.
Yeah, it feels good. Just playing like we usually do in our scrims, and everything just clicked.
Excellent, man. So you're the newest member of the team. Did you feel any added pressure going into this match, knowing that you're replacing one of the most important players on the team?
I'm just replacing him for this event, I think, and I didn't feel any pressure. I'm pretty confident in this team.
Right. So do you feel like this is just a great opportunity, or this is more so a great opportunity for you to kind of showcase what you can do?
It's a great opportunity for me and for the team, of course, because I'm good.
Oh, I like it, man. All right, so moving forward, you guys got Rogue coming up next. Tell me what your mindset is like going into this game, man.
We're going to beat them. Ooh. That's my mindset.
All right, then, man. The pop-offs are happening. All right, well, man, you go ahead, go prepare, and thank you very much for talking to us. And on that note, I want to send it back to the desk. Take it away.
Every time Malik's doing an interview, I'm waiting for the handshake there. I don't know, Malik,
you never know.
You got to help us out, man, next time.
You never know when it's going to strike. It's something that the players are well educated on. They've seen the VODs, and they know what to expect when going up and talking to Malik.
Yeah, and actually, shout out to the community for that amazing handshake breakdown. That was some good stuff. But let's break down these matches, and first up was Nepal. That was a 3-0 collection on those maps for Misfits. How'd they do it, Huck?
The main difference here, of course, I think is the traditional composition and the fact that they have the Zen and Lucio. Of course, there's a lot of factors. As ZP mentioned earlier, Rib, he had big shoes to fill, but he did a great job on that Winston. Altogether, I mean, you can always count on Soon, right?
Soon had a great game here. This is a case where you look at the past, there have been cases where Icefeld has had gigantic games, but a lot of the time he wasn't even on Tracer. He was doing other things to begin with. It was sort of changing up probably a little bit too much, and I don't know, it's one of those cases where I feel like LG came in a little bit weaker than we're used to, and maybe it's the environment, maybe it's just changing things up, maybe it's just teams have natural ups and downs, but they had their good moments, but they weren't able to have their good moments anywhere near as consistently as they needed to.
Yeah, and King of the Hill is a very important situation where it's mostly about mechanics and just shot calling, and they might just have more experience in live play. You know, the nerves get to them. I feel like LG was a little rattled. I expect going into the next matches later in today, they might pull it together a little bit better on King of the Hill specifically.
I would expect them to bring it up going forward, but I gotta say, right now you look at the EU groups, it is incredibly tough. I don't think any team has an easy ride. I don't think there's any match that you can look on paper and go, oh, this is easily gonna go one way or another. Maybe one of the matches that you thought it would go in that case was the Dignitas match earlier, and then Dignitas came out super strong, so EU's super unpredictable today, lots of storylines, but Misfits definitely brought their level up here in this matchup.
Absolutely, and then they carried it on over to Hollywood, which was our second map. Now, I know Luminosity entered into this with a bit of a composition. So talk to me about how they chose to defend and then how they stacked up on attack.
So taking a look here, look at Icefeld. Icefeld had great plays Reaper-wise all throughout, definitely channeling some of the stuff that was seen earlier today, but again, you take a look at the consistency between the two teams, and also the versatility of Nevix. Nevix was switching all about, sometimes on Genji, sometimes on Mei, probably one of the most flexible players on the entire team.
Yeah.
And it worked out, and actually look at Nevix in his history, he's known for just being able to play pretty much everything, including doing support on Misfits way back before they lost Zapri. So
I personally would have liked to seen them try out a McCree. I feel like when you're playing against a team that has a very, very strong McCree and a strong, a Genji and a Tracer that are strong, McCree fits really well into countering those both. They didn't try it out, and maybe that just comes down to practice and playing what you're comfortable with, but at the same time, I feel like you have to be able to adapt. All in all, though, like you said, they had a good defense. I feel like they played pretty good, and you know, Nevix, what is he, support before, is just doing a great job.
Nevix in general, like I said, the versatility is insane, and it's one of those things where I feel like every team needs a player like that that can play everything at a high level and mix things up, because not only is it good for them here where he's able to bust out the Mei and control fight like we just saw there, but in general, you look at the game as it changes overall. We've seen big shifts from time to time, certain characters come in and out. It means that Misfits can rely on Nevix to sort of shore things up for them if there is a big change.
Yeah, that handsome guy right there. And also, well, I don't want to like hit too much on LG. Cine actually had a pretty good game on Roadhog specifically. We haven't seen too much of that in the EU side of things just yet, but he actually showed a little bit of clutch hooks there.
He did, but on the same note, that sort of made me wonder a little bit on the side of LG, because when they've done really, really well, they've had Manitin going crazy on play-wise, not just on Zarya, but also his Roadhog. His Roadhog was very impressive in the past, and I get that they wanted to change up because they wanted Manitin on the Zarya, but I wonder if they would have had more success if it was Manitin on the Roadhog instead, because that's really what he got known for when LG was doing super well.
Well, you told me to look out for Manitin, but I noticed Ruster. Yeah. Ruster came hard and definitely made it on the kill feed there with a couple of Reinhardt cleanups. Let's take a look actually at all the matches that we had today and remind everyone where we've been, so then we can talk about where we're going. We started with REUNITED and NIP. NIP taking that one. What did you guys think of that matchup there? I mean, this was kind of our biggest matchup of the day.
It was the beginning of REUNITED's fall, because that is the true story out of this group, is that REUNITED, one of the top teams in the world, one of the teams that you can always count on getting at least second in a tournament, actually goes out first, and that's huge. And it's a big turnaround for NIP, and that to me is the big story here.
Yeah, it's interesting, a story for Overwatch altogether to have something like that. And we spoke about this quite a bit throughout the day, is that the gap is just closing between all these teams. And as you can see, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. And finally, we're starting to get a different result in Group B. We had two 0s, but I think these two upcoming matchups are going to be a lot closer, and it's going to be more sided to that 2-1.
That's right. This Misfits and Rogue is one that I've been looking forward to here. I'm glad it worked out that way. ZP, what do you think?
Misfits Rogue is going to be good. If Misfits can play how they play in that last match, I think they'll give Rogue a run for their money. I think Rogue definitely looks a little bit stronger right now, but the way the day has gone in regards to different teams matching up with each other differently, I'm not going to commit to anything yet. This has probably been the most ridiculous day in terms of predictions, just being all over the place relative to what we saw in NA, where you had a much better idea for where things were going.
Even NA, it was Method. Yeah. I mean, Method was a big surprise. It was, besides EnvyUs, EnvyUs was like the, you know, okay, we can count on them getting out of the group, getting out first, and then winning the final. But altogether, Method was a big story as well.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we have Rogue versus Misfits, that match we just told you we're very excited about, and we hope you are too, because this is a very important match. The winner gets to stay in the winner's bracket. The loser has to go on and continue to fight for their tournament life today. Tomorrow, actually. We come back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more action for you, but don't go anywhere. We still have 2 more matches tonight.